And so this question is, do I need to wait until my website goes live before we work together? So on this call, I want to mention and talk about one of the most common questions and things that we hear a prospect sponsor say when they're thinking about doing business with us. And so, hey everybody, Chris and Vitaly at Raise Ready here. And so what we're going to be doing is we're making slight adjustments to our meetings every Tuesday. And so every Tuesday, we're going to have a topic prepared around raising capital, around building your lead generation machine, around closing more investors for your private equity capital raise. And so every Tuesday, we're going to have a topic prepared around surrounding those. And then the second half of this call is going to be reserved for networking and just getting to know our community. Okay, so if you are a sponsor in the private equity space, whether that's real estate or a hedge fund or something similar, and you're looking to raise capital, particularly from accredited investors, join us on these calls. And these are live calls happening every Tuesday at 1 p.m. CST. Swing by, just say hello, have some questions prepared. If you have something specific that you want us to review and to talk about, happy to do that. And so that's what this topic is about today, is essentially, do you need a website to raise capital? Okay, that's the question. And so, Chris, I'm going to turn the table over to you and pose the question to you in just high level. What is a purpose of a website and how does it fit in your capital raising campaign?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Okay, so a website. A lot of people think this is the end all be all tool to make all the magic happen, right? But it's frankly, it's not. Sorry to break it to you guys. Sorry if you just built a beautiful website and this news is hitting you right now. But what is really the purpose of the website? Well, number one is credibility. We're always trying to cross the chasm of credibility. How's that for an alliteration, right? The credibility chasm. And that's something that a website can help you do, right? And a lot of that happens by displaying a track record, displays about the team, things like that. And we'll touch a little bit more on those components as well. But those are some credibility building pieces, right? It also serves to support your funnel, and we'll talk a little bit more about that funnel as well. Can it stand up without the website? Things like that. And this is very similar to, you can almost treat it as like a Facebook page or a LinkedIn page. It's this presence out there that if people visit it, they can see what you're about, right? Facebook, LinkedIn, a little bit different, and we'll go into that as well. But that's essentially what a website can do. Care to add any colors to that, Vitaly?
Yeah, sure. So when we build websites, and we used to build websites for our clients, and a lot of those are, and a lot of prospects, is funny, come to us and they show websites that we've built and say, hey, I want a website just like this, not knowing that we built it. And so they serve a very powerful purpose, and that is sort of your track record in your portfolio, right? That's where you collect case studies. That's where you tell people about your team and your partners. And so a website is very powerful in that regard, but by no means is it actually necessary to raise capital. And so let's talk about why real quick. So if a website is not required to raise capital, then like, first of all, why not? And then what is required?
Yeah. And so I think at this point, it's important to distinguish between a website and a funnel. Website, you're going more broad. It's more information, more things that can be held in. Funnel, very specific action needs to be taken. And one of the things I'll highlight about this, to kind of to continue to clarify this idea, is website, there's a bunch of navigation at the top. You can go to the about, the case studies, the team, all the stuff. Funnel, there's not. There's one action to take. There's just one big button, do this thing, right? And that's important to be able to drive action, right? So is a website required for investors to invest? Let's talk about how we do things at Raise Ready. and why we're able to help people get accredited investor leads, even if they don't have a website, even if they don't even have a fully established social presence. Now, how are we able to do that? So when we're driving traffic from wherever we drive it from, Facebook, Instagram, potentially YouTube, they're going to land on a funnel, right? There's only one thing we want them to do, and we've already primed them for what they're going to experience through the creative, through the copy that's going out on that ad platform, right? So we're telling them like, hey, here's an opportunity, it's live, and you're going to want to learn more about it, right? So they're immediately expecting, like, I just want to learn more about the opportunity. They click through, they land on your funnel, and you're going to be presenting over your deck. Now, that's awesome, right? They get to learn more right then and there. But what are the things they can do? What are the things they can execute on that page? A button that simply says, not even a button. It's immediately a calendar that's open, right? And all the options to pick the days and a time underneath. The subs, what we call sub CTAs, sub call to actions, are they can go ahead and go to the investor portal, or they can send an email to you, right? But those are, again, sub CTAs. They're kind of like little lines with little links, because that's not the main action we want them to take anyway. But if they decided to take them, that's not going to hurt anything, right? Just kind of furthers the communication. And that's why I would say, okay, if you didn't have a website, you couldn't have one. For some reason the government was like, no website for you. You can still build a small little funnel that's very, very potent, right? And that's what I'll say about that.
Not a regime I want to live in, where the government has no website. Luckily, we don't live in that kind of environment. But yes. So
let me ask you this, Vitaly. What is one of the benefits of having a website, though? Right, we're really emphasizing like, hey, this funnel, this is very powerful, very potent, tip of the spear kind of thing. But are there any benefits to having a website anyway?
Absolutely, and there's kind of an intrinsic benefit to even. It's almost more valuable going through the website development process than it is to have a website. And so what I mean by that is this: when creating a website, and by the way, if you're catching this recording on YouTube, leave us a like, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe to our channel. Okay, just a little pitch there. Going through the website creation process, it allows you to evaluate your brand's language, how you show up, and just going through that exercise, it kind of sets the tone for what the rest of your communication should look like. What your tone is in your emails. Is it like is it friendly, or is it a little bit more serious or sophisticated? And so we're actually learning this by going through, kind of reevaluating what our tone is for our brand, because we're redesigning our website right now. And so that's been a very, very powerful exercise. And really, because there are so many elements within the website, right? There is visuals, there is copy, and there's kind of flow and calls to action. So it lets you kind of try on a few things and see how they all fit in one space. And so that's going to then you can take some of the copy learnings that you've learned from going through the website design process. You can take the visual things and apply it to, some of the more visual components, like any marketing materials or any copy in like email, right? So it's a super powerful process to go through the web design process, but by no means do you need like a $10,000 website to raise capital. Some of the deals that we're currently evaluating personally, I don't even think I've been to their website. I literally saw the ad online. I get their emails, and like, that's it. Like and a couple text messages, by the way. And I remember a text message that I got that got me hooked. I was like, oh, wow, this is actually a legitimate opportunity. And the text message literally was like something short, but it was like, we have not missed a payment in 20 years. And I'm like, what more do you need? Like, what can a website tell you that single line of text message like does not? Like, that's such a powerful statement. As an investor, like, you're looking at the projected returns. Okay, like how much you're going to get monthly. Okay, cool. You're looking at the sponsor, can they deliver? What's their track record? Cool. And then the asset class aligns with me. Like those are the three things that every investor cares about: is projected returns, who's the sponsor that's making the returns, and their track record to deliver. And three, does it align with my personal investment thesis? And so a single text message can tell you that. And so you don't need a website. And so you don't need to spend a whole lot of time and money and, to build something like this up. And it could take you months and months and months, and you're just delaying action. And that's the last thing you want to do. With a funnel like ours, you can get going in a couple weeks time tops, and everything that you need to go live is a checklist on our campaign. Pitch deck, cool. Webinar, cool. Funnel, got it. Ad campaign, got it. Investor portal, got it. And then package all that up. You got email sequences on the back end, go live, and you're ready to blow your phone up with investors.
Oh, so efficient. I love it. So this kind of dovetails into a question I have for you. It's like, okay, if a website isn't required, then what is, right? What actually moves the needle? Is it, we know that, if you build a website, there's always that old saying, I forget, I think it's a movie called Field of Dreams, right? And he gets these whispers in the field and he's like, if you build it, they will come, right? That's not how this actually works. Okay, if you build it, people are not just gonna people aren't just searching random URLs on the internet and then one day they might be typing your address and find you, right? There's ways to go about driving traffic to that site. But even if the traffic gets to that site, are you making them take the right action? So back to my question: if a website is not required, can't have one, what's the right way to go about this?
Well, you have to package up your offering in the most attractive way possible and then put it in front of accredited investors online. We use highly sophisticated advertising platforms that have top secret algorithms to deliver exactly what people are looking for when they need it. And there are people out there searching for investment opportunities. And our job is to be able to take our sponsors' offerings and put it in front of those people. So that's first and foremost. That's going to allow them to look at the offering, say, okay, cool, this resonates with me. This I feel like could satisfy my investment objectives and my portfolio goals. I'm going to raise my hand and say, I want to learn more. And in turn, I'm going to give you my contact information. And then from that point on, there's a very guided interactive process, getting the investors educated on the investment offering and allow our sponsors an ultra easy way to get a hold of these people before they even close the tab, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's super important, is getting people while they're hot. And so kind of creating this interactive experience, and it's both like a sponsor flow and an investment journey, right? Like creating this experience for them, from the point of them getting intrigued to them learning more to them getting on a call with you. And then what does that look like in between calls? What do you do after a call? And then like what happens when they're like, okay, I want in. How do you facilitate the accreditation process, the paperwork, signing, wiring of the funds? What if they are looking to use their self-directed IRA money to invest, right? That all of that should be built in to the flow and make it as easy and streamlined as possible, and friction free, right? And a website is not going to do that. A website is just kind of, it's there for them to play, whereas here it's us to take them through, mm-hmm. Right? So that's kind of the differences there.
Yeah. And so kind of continue along the theme of, okay, a website, you can't have it, whatever. You're under this crazy government regime that's like, no website, only funnel, right? So something like that, right? So let's talk about what are the elements underpinning this trust building process, crossing the chasm of credibility kind of thing, right? And one of these concepts I want to touch on is getting people to actually meet you. Okay. On a traditional website, let's talk about something real quick. This about section or the team section. Okay. They click on the team section and they see your picture and they see a little description of your track record and things like that. your history and how you got here. Do you think that's actually going to do the trick? I would argue that it would not. Okay, it's not going to. They're not going to gain all the credibility you need just from a simple little about page, right? Or the team, or even showing off the robustness of the team. That's all fine and dandy. What's more powerful than that? How do we build trust? It's getting people to meet you. Now, in this day and age, how do we get people to meet us without actually walking up to them and shaking their hand and saying, hello, I am Bob, or whatever? The best way to get people to meet you is through video. Right? Imagine if you never saw Vitaly. Imagine if you never saw me. You only had access to a bio, right? And that was it. You would never be able to hear how passionate we are about this, that we're in this space. And there's something about creating a video that speaks to a certain level of permanence, meaning, I mean, everything that's recorded on YouTube, the videos that go out there, that's on the internet forever. Someone's going to be able to dig it up. All right. It's archived somewhere on the internet. So when you commit to making a video and getting in front of people and talking about what you're passionate about, that conveys to people subconsciously. It sub-communicates to people like, this person's serious about this. They're here to stay, and they're here to, actually see it through. Right. And so that's one element about, okay, how do we build that trust? I want to expand on this video concept real quick and share a little technique. Right. Through our process, the part that requires video is that presentation over the deck. Lead comes in, they can actually see what the opportunity is about. They actually meet you there, right? Okay, hey, I'm Bob, and I'm presenting about Fund X, and they can hear you talk through it, right? They see your mannerisms, how enthusiastic you are or not, right? Now, a top 10% strategy here, all right? Going to drop it's the little gold nugget that I want you to have. 90% of the people that send email, it's all just text-based. You can plug in a video into emails. You can put a link in there. You can have a really cool GIF of the video, right? Let's say this video right here, I'm going to go like this. And then on the video that I plug into the email, you will see me doing this thing, right? And it captivates, like, what is that all about? What is he talking about? There's actually motion, movement, color added to this, right? And, they might seem like a base type of strategies, but you need to appeal to people's reptilian brain, the casino type thing, right? There needs to be sprinkle a little bit of that in there. A video that has motion in it in an email does that. And if they click on that video, they start to meet you. You're talking to them about what they're reading about, starting to educate them. You start to develop this kind of micro celebrity status through video, right? I don't consider myself a celebrity, maybe the microest of micro celebrities, but at least we're out here putting this content out, right? It's important that we have you meet us, right? Care to expand on that, or any thoughts around that, Vitaly?
Yeah, I do. So you mentioned kind of appealing to the reptilian brain and having like a casino effect. And there's a way to do this in a very cheesy way, but we know how to do it in a very world-class, sophisticated way. And that's if you're asking somebody to trust you with, $50,000, $100,000, $1 million, this is what you have to do. You have to do this in a sophisticated, world-class way. And we know just how to do that because we have a world-class design team. We have world-class copywriters, video editors. We totally understand what this is all about. And so, we value design and branding highly. And, our goal is that we elevate people's and sponsors like brand profiles when they do business with us. And by no means we reduce them to some cheesy funnel or some cheesy ad graphic or any get rich quick type, language or anything like that. So I feel like that's important to call out because that's prevalent out there.
Yeah, certainly. And there's something about the way there's a balance to be struck out there. If you see an email, and again, we're talking about this kind of just base level perception, is that say you open up an email and the email is this long, it's like those old school scrolls, right? Just like on the ground, rolling out into the field. Somebody would probably click away. There's not enough time to read all that, right? And but stories need to be told. So there's a storytelling element. How do you do storytelling and get people to know you and not, bore them to death or scare them away with, the Encyclopedia Britannica written in one email, right? So how we do that, it's skillful copywriting, right? We're able to convey a story in a very short amount of time in order to get them to know you, what you've been through, what your experience has been like, your wins, your losses, what you've learned, things like this, to be able to get people to develop this trust, right? All of that stacked with a video of you conveying those things as well in your own words goes a long way to build trust. Storytelling, huge piece, right? And that can happen via the email sequence, right? It wouldn't really happen in the pitch deck. You're there to communicate what the opportunity is, but this follow-up sequence can include these things, and it's something that so many people miss out on, right? They'll do a quick little intro about themselves and then stat. Stats are super important. A lot of people want to focus on those things, but when it comes to building trust, there's a way that you can kind of parse this out, have it woven into the sequence so you can tell a strong story without, having the dictionary written in one email. So
yeah, and a way, just a real quick thing I want to add to that, and a way to break that up is breaking your email up into smaller chunks. So instead of having really large paragraphs, break that down into smaller chunks. And then also do not forget to use your headings. Heading 1 to hook the reader, heading 2 is to kind of break the topics up. I generally don't go into heading 3s, but those two right there are helpful. Use bullet points and numbered lists, super helpful, and bold, important pieces of content within the email, just so it allows your eye to scan down. So it's a matter of combining good storytelling, good visual hierarchy with a sophisticated sponsor with a lot of experience in the way they're telling their story. It's combining those two is what's going to make that kind of world-class presentation that nobody is doing anywhere else.
Yeah, and just another granular thing about copy, right? So many people treat copywriting like it's their high school English class, right? And things need to be written a certain way, and a paragraph is 5 lines or less or whatever, things like that. When you write copy, you do not need to communicate that way. You can capitalize all of these words, bold things, italicize things, and like Vitaly mentioned, keeping things in small chunks is a beautiful way to get eyes to track down, right? So you get these little one-liners that's like, and you'll never guess what happened next, ... That's its own line. It didn't exist in the paragraphs above, or, it's just something to keep the eye tracking down. So there's a very specific modern way to write that's specifically geared towards getting the person, get their eyes tracking down. Now, there's also the concept of future pacing as well, right? So many emails, they're self-contained, right? Which is good. They should be able to stand alone on themselves. They should also be evergreen. So never mention dates or things like that, like today, this month, things like that. Telling them it's May, May or June or July, nothing like that. But there's also these self-contained emails that aren't woven into the next email. So there's an element of future pacing and letting them know what to expect, what's coming up. So email 1 is like, hey, tomorrow I'm going to share with you how, we made it through one of the biggest challenges of the year, something like that. It's a very important thing to keep in mind because, again, there's a storytelling component here, right? And if you read a story and you don't have an idea of what might happen next, there's no mystery surrounding that, then it's not a great story.
Awesome. Well, we covered a lot, and we went over what these calls generally would go over. Our topics would probably be reserved for 15 minutes or so. We doubled over that, but we went over the roles websites play in your capital raise. We walked you through what an ideal funnel looks like for your private equity capital raise. We walked over what email copywriting should look like. And so we covered a lot. And so on these calls going forward on Tuesdays, join us live at 1 p.m. CST. And You can find the link to join this call at raisereadysystems.com/live. Okay, so go there, register for the next one, and we hope to see you guys there. And there's also going to be a networking kind of part of it, a community portion of it. We have some people in our network who have really incredible deal quality flow. We have people who are not known for their deal flow, but they have more cash than they know what to do with. And so that's just kind of a lowest hanging fruit way for us to connect those two parties and just encourage more business transaction, and just however we can support you. That's what we're here for when it comes to raising capital for your private equity fund. So join us on the next one, and thanks so much for joining us on this one.
Yep, guys, don't forget to subscribe, but most importantly, we want your comments, right? Tell us what your experience has been like. What questions do you have surrounding all this? Make sure to drop in your comments. That's one of the things we value most. Subscribe if you can, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much, guys.